And welcome back to Ageless Ambition, where we explore stories of power, purpose, and reinvention. Today's guest is a remarkable woman whose life and leadership have been shaped by resilience, service, and an unwavering commitment to helping others. Sharifah Kee is the founder and CEO of Lupus Together New Jersey, an organization dedicated to educating, empowering, advocating, and supporting individuals and families impacted by lupus. As someone living with lupus herself, Sharifah has transformed her personal journey into a powerful mission of hope, awareness, and community. Beyond her work with Lupus Together New Jersey, she serves as a lupus patient advocate, an ambassador for Lupus Research Alliance, vice president of Bordentown Rotary Club, and a patient advocate for Gentech and Co-Creation Council. Welcome, Sharifah.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Sharifah, your work today impacts so many lives, but every mission has a beginning. Can you take us back to when you were first diagnosed with lupus and how that entered your life and the experience eventually led to Create Lupus Together New Jersey?
Yes, let's go back. Let's go back to 2012, 2013, when I started having, well, a little bit before 2012, 2013, I started having symptoms of fatigue, muscle aches, joint pain. Just thinking, that being the average woman working a lot, being a mother, being a wife at the time, being a nurse. So in the beginning, I thought I was just tired and overworked. But it became to the point where it was becoming debilitating. So I eventually went to my primary care doctor and mentioned there's some different symptoms that I was having. And at that time, she was like, this seems like a little bit more than just overworking, because it's been happening every day. It became an everyday thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
So they did some blood work, some extensive blood work, might I add. And some weeks later, it came back showing that I did have a positive ANA,
Mm-hmm.
which is a marker of inflammation, a
Mm-hmm.
sed rate, which is also a marker of inflammation, and some other
Mm-hmm.
tests that came back positive. So she then referred me to a rheumatologist. Rheumatologist I first went to was not very kind.
Mm-hmm.
And that is sometimes what happens in this world of medicine and dealing with the invisible disease. He told me that it was all in my mind, that I just needed to rest, and that I was probably just anxious and or stressed, and wanted me to take some antidepressant medications.
Mm-hmm.
So 2013 is when I officially got my diagnosis by a phenomenal rheumatologist that I sought out, with the help of one of the doctors that I worked for. Now, how did that lead me into becoming the founder and CEO of Lupus Together 13 years later with my mom on my back saying, you really need to start an advocacy group? Because during those years that I was diagnosed, I was an unofficial advocate. I spoke up for people, I advocated for myself. I seen the different um, adversities in the hospitals and in the medical field with people not getting the care that they needed to get, or not being able to speak up for themselves. So people would come up to me all the time and just talk to me and tell me their stories,
Mm-hmm.
and I would just help them, or provide resources that I had available. So again, 3.5 years ago, 4 years ago, my mom was like, "You really need to open up and start a nonprofit to help people officially." So I kept putting it off, and kept saying, no, 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 I have too much to do already. I don't want another thing on my plate. But I started seeking God, and I started asking God to reveal his purpose in my life, other than just nursing and, being a mom and doing those kind of things. I felt like I had so much more to give back.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to wake up every day. I remember between the hours of 3 or 5 o'clock every single night, and just be staring at the wall and just be like, God, why are you waking me up every day? And at that moment, about 2 weeks in, I said to my mom, my mom's very spiritual and very religious. And I said, I keep waking up. And she said, it's because God is trying to tell you something. He's trying to talk to you, and you need to listen.
Yep. Yep.
So yeah. So I'm one of those people that you have to kind of like drop the stuff in my lap in order for me to hear, like hit me in the head with it.
Mm-hmm.
So and I talk to my father like that. I talk to God like that. I go, God, you know I'm that person that needs to be like knocked on the head and say, this is what you need to be doing. And ask and you shall receive, right? So
Right.
things just started happening for me. I sat at the computer and I just started writing up my mission, started thinking about what I want my vision to be, what I wanted my business plan to look like. Obviously, I didn't have all the answers at that time, but I kind of got a foundation of kind of what I wanted. And I just started, I thought of a name. I literally thought about it for about a day, and the name Loop Us
Mm-hmm.
Together came to my mind. And again, you ask and you shall receive. And that's how Loop Us Together started back in 2023.
Amen. Amen to that. Now, you mentioned about a portion of your diagnosis in the beginning, how it was basically invisible. And one provider said that it was all mental, it was anxiety, and they wanted to put you on medication. How did you like become an advocate in that area to make sure that you pivot and you've seen the right provider? Because so many times some women and just people in general, they'll go to one provider and the provider will say this, but down the line several years later they find out that it's actually another disease process.
So my biggest thing that I learned myself, and also it helps, I guess, with me coming from the medical field. And a lot of people don't have medical, they don't know terminology, they don't have a medical background. So I have to kind of put myself in those people's place. What would I do if I did not have a medical background? I tell people write down symptoms as you're
Right.
having them. The best tool that we have as people and as a community is our phones.
Mm-hmm.
So in our phones, we have a little note section. Write down. I don't care what it is. It could be a joint pain. Write it down. Today's date, I had a joint pain. Date, I had a migraine. The little simplest things that you don't think mean anything sometimes mean a lot and are the pieces to the puzzle that a doctor needs to put together a diagnosis. It takes an average of 6 to 7 years for the average person to get diagnosed with lupus because
Oh
it
wow.
mimics so many other illnesses and diseases. And because it is invisible, because I look fine, like I look fine today, but my
Mm-hmm.
body's battling itself. My body looks at itself as a foreign invader. So imagine having the flu every single day of your life. That is what people that have lupus and invisible disease feel like. And then on top of whatever else that you're going through, if you do get a cold, you're battling the actual cold that you have. It takes us longer to heal from colds. It takes us longer to heal from different illnesses and diseases. So, my best advice to a person that is trying to seek out a diagnosis, or if they just know something is off, we know our bodies. We have to learn how
Mm-hmm.
to listen to our bodies. And our
Right.
bodies give us clues all the time, but we just push them off and say, "Oh, it's just this, or it's just that," or a doctor will say, "Oh, it's just this, or it's just that." When you know ultimately something is not right with your body.
That's so interesting because, I just recall just in life when I was first diagnosed with a sleep disorder. And they said, oh, again, you were young, you were just athletic, you were doing so many things. It's just a teenage thing, but it was a little bit more deeper than that. And then
Hmm.
I had to go back to another provider and have another sleep study done. And basically, what they said was basically I created a life around it. So I
Okay.
rested when I needed to rest. And then, continue to pursue. I look at you also and how you continue to live life in spite of the disease. Can you share with us a little bit about what grounds you? What keeps Sharifah going in the midst of lupus? I see you traveling, you with your family. Again, like you just said, you had a gala. What drives that?
Well, first and foremost,
Mm-hmm.
God the Father,
Yes.
my yes, so my faith, because I don't know where I would be without my faith. Um, Secondly, would be my family, so my children. and my mother are one of my biggest supporters.
Mm-hmm.
So, and just my will to want to live. I don't want lupus to control my life. It controls enough of my body. I don't want it to control my life. So, having said that, it's more like if you allow something to take over you and consume
Mm-hmm.
you,
Mm-hmm.
it will take control over what it is that you're letting it consume, right? Whether it be our mental, whether it be our spiritual, whether it be our physical. I'm not saying that I don't have pains because I have pains every day of my life. There is not a day that goes by that I have some form of pain. But to
Right.
what extent do I have the pain? Some days I have a level 2 pain. Some days I have a
Mm-hmm.
level 10 or off the charts. But as you said, I love to travel. That is my joy. That is my joy. I look forward to when I know I'm about to get on an airplane and go somewhere because I like to. It's a form of being closer to God, especially when I'm at
Mm.
water in the beach. So
Yes.
I feel grounded when I'm near water in nature. So it's a way of me regrounding, resetting, and restarting. So
Wow.
a lot of people just think it's just she's just on. I mean, don't get me wrong, I do like the vacation, but it's also a meaning in the vacation.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so when I feel like I'm overwhelmed, you'll see me and I'll be like, I'll be right back. I really am going away for like 2 or 3 days to reset, restart, and just get my life together and then come back. Um, so it's more than just the vacation, it's the mental part of it, it's the physical part
Mm-hmm.
of it. Because actually, when a lot of people, and a lot of people attest to this, I don't know if you know, like people call themselves snowbirds. A lot of people, I know you probably heard of older people, like they will leave the colder weather and go to a warmer weather when it's cold
Yes.
outside, and they're called
Yes.
snowbirds. The reason they do that is because a lot of people have arthritis. And when
Yes.
you're closer to the equator and the barometer, your
Yes.
body hurts less and you have less aches and pains. So that's why
Mm.
they go away during the winter time as opposed to the summertime because their bodies feel
Mm-hmm.
better closer to the equator. And I'm a true believer in barometers. So I will go away during the winter time. I will go away and I will go away to get some because my body doesn't hurt as much when I go to these
Mm-hmm.
places. So it's meaning in it and I just enjoy traveling as well. So
Wow, and truly that's a misconception that I had of you because I was like she's always on the plane. She's just, going, but to understand the way you explained and understand the disease process of any disease, and we do understand that when you're closer to the equator and you're in the water and the time that it takes to reset, I totally can understand that now and the way you placed it in perspective, because I know personally for myself when I go on vacation, my knees don't bother me. I have severe arthritis and one knee, a knee replacement. And
oh wow.
so I don't have that pain that I used to have all the time. And so I enjoy that. So maybe that's another reason why I need to travel more
Get away a
often,
little bit more.
especially during the winter time, you
Yeah.
know.
And that's
So,
one of my
Sheree,
goals to is
mhm.
to buy a house in the Caribbean or in one of my favorite places, the Bahamas. Just to get away real quick and come right back. So it's one of my goals in the very near future.
Right, right. So we all know that when we're initially diagnosed with a disease, it takes some time for it to actually settle in. What was some of the challenging times that you faced head on, and how did you face it head on when being diagnosed with lupus?
Okay, so some of the challenges are a finding a good rheumatologist that
Mhm.
is willing to listen to you, take the
Mhm.
time to understand, to try to understand where you're coming from. I know it's very hard for people to kind of put themselves in your place, but what I've learned and what I tell people is just be empathetic to people that say they have
Right.
pain. Does not take much out of your soul and your spirit to be empathetic and try to put yourself in another person's place. Um, because it's hard to imagine someone saying, "Oh, if I'm saying I'm fatigued," for you to understand what fatigue is. Most people think fatigue is just you're tired, go to sleep. wake up, you're
Mhm.
refreshed, keep going about
Mhm.
your business. Fatigue is not that. You
Nope.
can sleep for 2 to 3, 4 to 5 days and you're still fatigued.
Yep.
It's like having carrying around a lead iron pole that is weighing you down and you can't lift it up. And some people suffer from fatigue for months and months. It's called chronic pain, fatigue syndrome, and I've had it before. Thank God I have not had it in a long time. I do
Mhm.
suffer from fatigue, but it's not for the months. I've had it for weeks at times, days at times. But that's one of the biggest challenges with autoimmune disease and lupus within itself. The biggest problem is fatigue. There are there are medicines that can handle other different things like the chronic inflammation. We have, different medicines like steroids.
Mhm.
We take one of the first medicines that they put us on is actually off label for lupus. It's actually made for malaria, but they use it for people that have lupus.
Mhm.
And that helps a lot with the joint pains and and it's supposed to help with some of the fatigue, but there is no magic cure for the fatigue. And if you ask most people that have lupus or chronic illness, fatigue is one of the biggest symptoms that they have. Um, that's one of the biggest challenges I had to face, and to get the doctors to realize like this is a real thing. This is a debilitating thing because
Right.
fatigue is very debilitating. You do not want to get out the bed. I
Mhm.
remember days when I would not get out the bed for 2 or 3 days and didn't shower for 2 or 3 days. Taking a shower was a task. Getting up to
Okay.
go to the bathroom was a task. Nevertheless, trying to eat something to try to get some of your energy. I mean, because it
Mhm.
all goes hand in hand, right? Nutrition. Um, but if you're so tired, I mean, you really don't want to eat. You really don't want to do the normal things that people do day to day. So that's one of the biggest challenges I've had with lupus, outside of the regular pains, because you do have pains. Like I said, I have pains every day, whether it be my knees, whether it be my back. I'm a
Mhm.
migraine sufferer, a really bad migraine sufferer. So I do get migraines. Um, I have a headache every day of my life. But it's become part of my life. I know
Mhm.
that sounds crazy, but it has literally become a part of my life. I've been inpatient for migraines treatment. I currently take 4 different medications for migraines a day, just to keep my migraines at bay. So there's a
Okay.
lot of things. I also suffer from lupus nephritis, which is lupus the attacking my kidneys. So I have kidney disease. And just recently, I don't know if you know, but I now have, I was just recently hospitalized 3 times this year alone. And lupus has now attacked my heart. So that's something else I'm dealing with. So, I mean, we have challenges every day, but again, with my faith and my support system, you get through day to day, knowing that it won't last forever. I truly believe that. I don't say I have a bad day. I always say I
Mhm.
have a good day and a not so good day, and just try to
I
stay
l-
positive.
I love your perspective, and working in healthcare, we understand that it's all about the perspective. It's all about what grounds you, and your faith grounds you. And you mentioned something
Mm-hmm.
key. You said support system. I understand that you have 2 adult daughters, and you mentioned your mother. How has that support system helped impact you as a lupus patient? Like,
Okay, so my kids are the wind beneath my wings. I really
mm-hmm,
truly believe if I did not have my 2 daughters, I probably would have maybe like mindset would be totally different. But
mm-hmm,
I feel like I need to continue to keep going for my children. I
mm-hmm.
am an example for them. I am the first uh, person that they look at in the morning, right? We are our kids' examples. We're their leaders. They're
Right.
girls too, so they look at me like my mom is strong. But then on the flip side, I want them to also know that it's okay not to be strong at times.
Mm-hmm.
I struggled with that for a long, long time. I didn't want my daughters to see me cry because you grow up thinking like especially as Black women, we have to carry all the weight on our shoulders. We have to do
Yes.
this. We have to be this. We have to be that. And for a long time, when I got diagnosed, I didn't want my kids to see me cry. But then I came to the realization they need to see me cry. They need to
Yes.
know that I hurt, that I get sad. But on the flip side, that is going to be okay because I can fix it. I can pray about it. I can lean on them. I can lean on my support group. I can lean on my support system. Like there's things in
Mhm.
place to help you get through those tough times in life. But so my kids needed to know the reality of life because I would be doing them a disservice to allow them to think that mommy doesn't cry or mommy doesn't get hurt or mommy doesn't do this. So my kids have been my motivation
Mhm.
and then my support system, including my mom, which is one of my biggest, my dad who now has advanced dementia, who is my heart. And I have friends that are very helpful in times of need that I need them. I'm learning how to reach out more for help because
Yes.
um, I am a strong woman, and I have learned to ask for help when I need help now.
Mm. So
Ask for
you
help when I need help.
found so a lot of times we as women, we want to be strong. You want to be strong for your daughters and you want to be seen as superwoman. But you said a powerful statement. You said they needed to see me cry. They needed to see the reality of the disease process and that you are human. How
Yes.
did you have to navigate through that? Because I know, Sharifah, I can just imagine you. I didn't know you before the disease process. I met you recently. And I can imagine how, if you travel now as much, you've probably traveled so much more. You wore so many different hats. How did relinquishing that strong woman mentality help you?
So it helped me know that I am human, that
Hmm.
I just strength is in the crying, actually.
Wow.
Strength is in the being vulnerable. Strength is in allowing my children and the people around me to know that I'm not Superwoman, even though my kids actually call me Superwoman. Um, um, so I find strength in knowing those things that I can cry. Like there was just not too long ago, and I was sitting in the hospital, in Philadelphia, getting the diagnosis with my heart. And I looked at my mom was like, she was sitting in this chair that she tells all the time this story that was broken. And she was uncomfortable in this chair. But she was like, I'm gonna go to a hotel and I'm gonna go get a nice rest and I'm gonna come back to the hospital. I sat
Hmm.
there and cried like a baby because I did not want my mother to leave me in the hospital because I just felt like that was my safety net. She was my mom. Like I reverted almost back to a little girl that
Hmm.
needed her
I can
mom
understand
in
that.
that moment. And
Right.
because I was afraid and I didn't want a doctor to come into, I've never told this story before. I never I didn't want the doctor to come in and tell me some bad news that I didn't want to
Hmm.
hear. And I was there alone with
Yes.
nobody to almost like embrace me or to tell me that it was going to be okay.
Mm.
So in that moment, I'm like, wow, like I am a spiritual person. I'm a believer, and I am a believer, girl. I am a believer. But at the same time, we need human. We need human touch. We need human embracing. We need someone just to say, "It's gonna be okay. You're gonna be
Yes.
okay. We're gonna be okay. We're gonna go down this journey together." So I reflected back not too long ago on that moment, and I was like, I needed my mom. I'm about to be 50 years old, and I still needed my mom. I felt like a little
And you
girl, and I still
always
needed
need
my
your
mom.
mom.
So yeah, so like in those moments, I have to relinquish that superwoman, take that cape off, and just be like,
Hmm.
yeah, I need people. I need my mom. I need my friends. I need my kids. Like I need them.
Amen to that. And so What challenges have you had to face while walking in purpose? So, the Lupus Together New Jersey is your purpose. That's your
Hmm.
baby that you take care of.
Yes.
And you are an advocate, a patient advocate also. So, what challenges have you had to face?
Challenges. One of the biggest challenges is allowing people to work with me and me relinquishing control. That's one of the
Mm-hmm.
biggest challenges. Um, because I'm a type A personality. And I have a phenomenal board. One of the biggest challenges is funding, because it takes, most people think that nonprofits have like this money. I don't know where they think it, but you have to either apply for grants, have fundraisers, do other things to create money, or use your own funding,
Mm-hmm.
which a lot of times is when you start off, you have to use a lot of your own money. Um, so and then just getting people to believe in what you believe in and to believe in your mission and to get to see what
Yes.
your vision is. You have to get them to see the vision. um I'm pretty good at doing that. I'm a people person. So people will believe in the vision, but then again, it comes with the finances of, once you have people behind you, how do you move forward with providing the community and providing the people that need the resources. I am a very big boots on the ground person. I'm very big into giving to my community. I will take the coat off my back and give it to somebody. But how long is that sustainable to do when um, you expect to, grow and to reach more people? So that was one of the biggest challenges, and it's still a challenge that we're working through. But again, with my faith in God, I know that God's purpose for my life and for Lupus Together is bigger than what I can even imagine.
Yes. Can you speak about some of the most proudest moments with Lupus Together?
I have many of proud moments. Just recently, we had a our third annual scholarship gala.
Mm-hmm.
So we actually have young people that are high school students apply for a scholarship. They have to have a certain grade point average. They have to be, like I said, in high school and looking to further their education. They also have to have lupus. And we pick, through a very difficult process, a winner, a recipient, and we give them a scholarship, so that they can go on to further their education. And every year we build the scholarship to a little bit more money, obviously, because we get a little bit more money every year. So that's one of my biggest, because people come out, they celebrate the high school student, they celebrate
Mm-hmm.
the awareness of lupus, the advocacy of lupus, and that's done annually. But throughout the year, we also do a lot. I feed the homeless. During the holiday time, we do what's called the 50-50 drawing. And 50% of the drawing goes to the winner of the fifty
Okay.
fifty, and the other 50% goes to lupus families that are in need during the holiday season. So just this past holiday season, I was in the hospital, but I still did my 50-50 drawing. I pulled the winner from my hospital bed. And as soon as I got out the hospital, those families got the things that they needed for the holiday season. And we had 6 families that were recipients of the 50-50 drawing. And we do that every year. We also do something as a fund drive. We collect
Mm-hmm.
clothes around the community and we give it back. We filter it back into the community. So we collect the things from other people all around New Jersey, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, but it's filtered back into the people that need it within the community right here, in Mercer County, Middlesex County. Um, so yeah, those are some of the things we do. We do a lot. We do a lot of things for the community. I'm very big into community.
Yes. And so, what is your vision for Lupus Together for the
So
future?
my for the future, my vision is to be international.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go into countries that don't have the education, can't get the testing, can't get the medicines that are needed to start treatment for lupus together. For lupus, um, my goal is to. Right now, we have people on a support group meeting that come from like Trinidad and
Mm-hmm.
Tobago, and they don't have these resources that we have. They
Wow.
heard of, some people have heard of lupus, some people have never heard of lupus, some people heard of it, you can't get the medicine, they're suffering. Um, so that is my goal. My goal is to get the word out there to not only to the United States nationally, but it is to also go international and to be able to go in and provide at the minimum education and medicine that these people need around the world.
Mm, excellent, excellent. And I know you have Lupus New Jersey, but you are a patient advocate. You have so many other initiatives. Can you talk a little bit about the other initiatives that you're involved in?
Yes. So I also am a co-creator with called for a company called Snow, and it
Mm-hmm.
is, I don't know if you've seen or other people seen. I go around and am an advocate. I talk about lupus nephritis. I have flown out to San Francisco and been on a panel of
Mm-hmm.
different medical professionals talking about lupus nephritis. And actually, they just came out with a new medication for lupus nephritis, and I was part of that initiative
Mm-hmm.
that was just approved in November of last year. I also just recently went out to Las Vegas and spoke in front of 500 people regarding lupus nephritis for a pharmaceutical company. I also go around to Kane. I was just recently at Kane College for 2 different semesters and
Mm-hmm.
spoke to 2 classes that talked about disparities in our community with when it comes to healthcare. And I spoke to 2 of those classes. They actually invited me in to speak to their classes and give presentation and to raise awareness. I recently just in at the beginning of May, I was invited to a baseball game, softball game, in Magnolia, New Jersey, to actually throw out the first pitch and to speak on
Oh, wow.
um, lupus. Yes, 5 of the women that were part of that team had lupus, which is crazy within itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I was able to go there and give information on lupus, our support group meeting. Just a great experience. It's just a great experience to be amongst all young ladies, um,
Yes.
and to see from like 2 and 3 year olds up into adult women come together and play
Mm-hmm.
say softball, but yet want to learn about what lupus is and how it affects
Yes.
us and what they can do and how they can raise money to support lupus. Phenomenal, phenomenal. People, and I truly believe people have to use their platform that they have in order to. Everybody has a platform. I believe everybody has a platform. Whether it be you just going into a store and you're talking about lupus, that's your platform. Maybe that's what God blessed you to do. You could be working in Target and someone comes up to your register, talk about lupus, like you're doing, bringing awareness on
Yes.
your platform.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think there's all different types of things that people can do to raise awareness. Join, volunteer. You can volunteer. Do a fundraiser for someone. There's so many
Mm-hmm.
things that can be done that we can do, that we can use in our own, that we have our power to use
Yes.
in order to bring awareness and or learn more about it. Join a support group meeting. You don't have to have lupus to join a support group meeting. You may just want to learn more about what lupus is or how you can help someone that has lupus. I think mostly everybody I've come into contact, they'll say, I know somebody that has lupus, or my
Mm-hmm.
cousin has lupus, or I just lost a friend to lupus. I think it's becoming more of a household name as it was
Yes.
10 years ago when we really didn't talk about it, when auntie and grandma had aches and pains and everybody just said they had arthritis. Did they really have arthritis or did they have an autoimmune disease? We didn't test for it like that. So we don't know. Um, but I think we're moving in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
We still have a long way to go. There is no cure for lupus, but I think within, I don't know about my lifetime, but hopefully my kids' lifetime, that there will be a cure because we're moving towards in the right direction. So
Yes.
there's hope.
Now, you mentioned about how lupus is becoming a household name. Basically, a lot of people are now getting tested for lupus. So they're discovering that it's more than fatigue, it's more than just aches and pains. What are some of the myths about lupus that you would like to correct? because I know that, you have the nursing background, but then also you are a patient. Can you speak on that, please?
Sure. So some of the misconceptions that I find, we are lazy. And that stems from, I think, the joint pain, in addition to the fatigue. We are not lazy by any chance. We just can't do it at that moment. I think people don't realize that lupus, for instance, you could be fine sitting here talking to you, and an hour later, my body takes a left turn, and I am hurting,
Mm-hmm.
and I may have to cancel plans. Not that I wanted to cancel plans, but my body is just not following. My mind says I want to go, but my body's not following suit. So that's another misconception, that we like to cancel plans, or no, it's just that we can't do it. Um, being out in the sun affects us. I love, like I just said earlier, I love the beach. I love the sun, but loving the sun comes at a cost for me. So when I go away on vacation to places that are sunny, I already know when I come back that for 3 or 4 days, I am going to have a flare. But
Mm,
I am willing to take that cost because I love the sun.
right.
Everybody's not willing to take that cost, and pay the price for that. So I am down for 2 or 3 days after I come back from vacation. Um, so those are other misconceptions. Other things, that hypochondriac, because it's an invisible disease. Because I look fine, I have on lipstick, I'm sitting here talking to you. Doesn't look
Yeah.
like there's anything wrong with me. I am exhausted right now. I am tired. But again, we just keep going, and we keep going. And then we start to play our own symptoms down because we want to please other people, or we don't want other people to think we're being a hypochondriac. So we tend to play our symptoms down, which is not fair to us. And it's not fair to the people that are looking at us, because they're not learning. They're not being exposed to what it is that is really going on with us. But then again, who wants to keep explaining and explaining? You don't feel good already. So then you have to go back
Right.
into explaining that you don't feel good and why you don't feel good. So it's a vicious cycle. It's a vicious cycle. Unfair cycle to the patient. Unfair. And then you have a lot of practitioners that actually are not well versed on lupus and don't stay up
Mm-hmm.
on education of lupus as well, that also play into that vicious cycle of, oh, you're complaining, you're here again, oh, you're complaining about this. And I tell people all the time, if you have a practitioner that cannot sit down and listen to you and take your complaints or your symptoms valid and make you
Mm-hmm.
feel like you're a human, you need to find another practitioner.
Yes.
You need to find another practitioner, because you're
I
already
agree.
going through so much. You don't need someone that's not on your team.
I agree. Now, you said something so interesting, which is, how you had to play symptoms down, how, some family members and friends say, oh, not your family and friends, but in general, would say, you're a hypochondriac, you're over exaggerating, you're just tired, go take a nap. And they want you to continue life, but you truly have these symptoms. This is your reality. What would you like for a family and friends to understand about lupus to be a better support system?
Well, let me go back. I do have family and friends that have said that to me.
Okay.
And I do think that everybody that has dealt with it has had those people that have said that to them.
Mm-hmm.
I would like them to realize that, first of all, we are human.
Right.
So let's start there. Second
Mm-hmm.
of all, I don't know anybody, and I just had this conversation with one of my girlfriends. I don't know anybody in life that would like to have these symptoms that we have and just say that we have them.
Right.
I wouldn't give this disease to my worst enemy. And I mean that with the bottom of my heart. Because A is unpredictable. Number two, there is no cure for it. Number three, we hurt like hell. down from joint pain, muscle pain, losing hair. I go through chemo. I go through 27 pills a day that I take, not adding on injections, infusions that I take. I take every 3 months, I take infusions for my migraines. Every 3 months, I take Botox for my migraines. I also go and I do a monthly injection as well. So I don't know who in their right mind. This is why I tell people all the time, tell people your truth. Tell people your truth so that they can better understand it. Because
Mm-hmm.
I, if you came to me on the street, you would be like, oh, she looks fine. She looks, which I do. I look fine physically, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you don't see me when I'm wearing my oxygen. You don't see me when I'm limping outside or I can't get out the car or I'm in the car sitting there trying to figure out how I'm going to get in the grocery store to get enough energy to get out my car, to get in the grocery store, to walk around the aisles to get the groceries that I need, to get up to the lane, to take the bags out the car. Like I'm sitting in my mind plotting all this out. Like, how
Yes.
long is it going to take me? How much energy is it going to take? So people don't know those things that people with chronic illness and lupus deal with and go through. um, I know sometimes we make it look easy because we don't tell the backstory, but it's not easy. And then not only that is the side effects from the medications that we take. So that plays a part in it. Those make you fatigued, those make you nauseous, those make you, a lot of different things. So I just wish people would be a little bit more empathetic, compassionate, and just treat people like humans because they wouldn't do
Amen.
that to people that dealt with other illnesses. I use cancer as an
Mm-hmm.
example. If you
Mm-hmm.
see someone going through chemo treatment, you're empathetic to them. You're, oh, what can I do for you? Get a wig made or lay down, or are you nauseous? Are you this and that? We go through some of the same things that people with
Mm-hmm.
cancer. And actually, people with cancer can go into remission, and some people can be cured. Um, there is no cure for lupus. And the harder part is it's invisible, so people don't believe it.
Yes. I definitely understand the invisible part because when I had my knee replacement, I had people come to me and say, you know what, I have to apologize because I know you said that you were in pain, but I didn't know it was to this degree. And I
Mm-hmm.
said, so you thought I was lying for 20 years about pain? Because I had to wait. Like at 23, I had initial surgery, and they said I should have bounced back, but I did not. And so I went years of getting injections, going
Mm-hmm.
through therapy, going through this, and just taking breaks off of my knee, which caused, of course, increased weight gain, which
Yes.
basically put me in another state with my knee and the arthritis. So then once I had the knee replacement, I had to like learn how to walk all over again. I literally waited until I could not walk on my leg. And that was on me. I tell people don't put a job first because I put my job first at the time. My orthopedic said you're going to get to the point where your leg is just going to give out. And I
Um,
remember in January, my leg just giving out. And so after
mhm.
surgery, I had to learn how to walk all over again. And so when you talk about the invisible things, people didn't see that. And then when I got into relationships, the person who I was dating saw the fatigue, saw the pain and everything. And, I had some people say, I didn't sign up for this.
Yeah.
I can see you from the outside. So you see me out and you see
Yes.
this person. But then when you develop that intimacy part, when you start to take off the mask and the layers, then you start to discover who people are really in your life and what they can stand. So
Yes.
I definitely
Yes.
understand that and empathize with that area. Um, what is some of, so speaking on your power, because you are an example of triumph. When I see you even in the hospital room, you can see faith on you because you're exposing people and educating people to lupus and the symptoms that you're going through and everything. and you talked about, God being your anchor in your family. What helped you basically discover that purpose, like Lupus Together and, your faith? What helped drive that?
What helped drive Lupus Together was I felt heavy knowing that I had more to give and I wasn't doing more.
Mm.
I know that sounds a little crazy, but because I've always been a woman of faith, um, and I've always been a caregiver, I've always been an empathetic person, a compassionate person. I've always been someone that was easy to talk to.
Mm-hmm.
But when I got the diagnosis of lupus, my life just changed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard for me to explain how it changed, but it changed in a way that I just was like, God, I know you have more for me. Um, I know you have a purpose for me. I'm a driven person, but I didn't know if I had the strength to, because of the fatigue and because of all the things that go along with
Yes.
lupus. Um, I doubted my capabilities, I guess. I doubted that God would give me the strength that I needed every day to sustain
Mm-hmm.
um, a a a nonprofit or a support group. I really originally wanted to start with just a support group, but then it flourished into more than just a support group.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I just continue to pray, and I just ask God to place me where He wants me to be, to give me the strength. And the crazy part is, I don't even pray for strength for long term strength
Mm-hmm.
anymore. I pray for day to day strength. When I wake
Right.
up in the morning and I pray, I ask God to give me the strength that I need to get through this day. Tomorrow's already gone.
Mm-hmm.
Today is today, and I'm not going to worry about tomorrow. So, because I deal with chronic illness, I just need the strength to get through today, whether
Yes.
it
Day
be
by
to
day.
plan, yes, whether it be to plan an event, whether it be because I'm in discomfort or I'm going through something, life is still, even though you have lupus, life is still life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
you're still a parent, you're still a homeowner, you're still an employee, you still work. But I just need the strength to get through that day. And I just thank God at the end of the day when I lay my head down that I got through that day. Whether it be a struggle of a day, whether it be not so good day, or I got through the day. God fulfilled his purpose and his faithfulness to me. Like he told me that he was going to get me through that day. And the only thing I have to
Yes.
do is lean on him and continue to have faith. And that's all I do. I literally just on Saturday, I just was like, God, thank you. Thank you for getting me through this gala. Thank you for it being a success. You promised me. You told me not to worry. You told me to cast my worries on you and then just be done with it and move by faith. So that's what I
Amen.
do. I move by faith.
Amen. And I would like for you to, if you can, share with a woman out there who may feel like her life is stuck after being diagnosed with a disease and she does not know how to move on and create a future for herself. Can you speak to that woman?
Yes, I can. I will tell you that trust yourself, trust what you feel, reach out to a person, whether it be a family member, whether it be a friend, whether it be a doctor, whether it be someone you don't even know. Reach out to them for support. You've been my friend
Mm-hmm.
since day one. For support. Connect yourself with a trustworthy support group because I truly believe that you, me, and other people that are diagnosed with lupus, we need someone that can relate to.
Right.
We can relate to each other. People that don't have lupus, it's hard. They try their best, and they truly do. They try their best sometimes to relate to what we're going through or to just empathize with what we're going through. But it's hard when you don't face the same. symptoms or the same challenges. So
Mm-hmm.
please connect yourself with a trustworthy support group system, whether it be Lupus Together, whether it be LRA, LFA, somebody that just can walk you through the process and give you the resources and the help that you need. Again, I am available. I know there's other people out there that are available. And I just want to say that I love you. I love you. Love yourself. I know this is a new life. I'm going to tell you because I grieve my old self. And that's normal and natural to grieve the old person that you were before you were diagnosed. But
Yes.
please know that the new you is worthy of all the things that you've ever dreamed of, all the things that you've ever thought of. Know that God loves you first and foremost. Sharifah loves you, and I am here for you.
Amen. And Sharifa, as we close, what are you most excited about tomorrow?
I am excited for tomorrow for life. I'm
Mm-hmm.
excited that I'm going to wake up and I'm claiming this with less pain that I had today. That tomorrow's a new day for new adventures, new promises. Um, I'm excited about life. And I know a lot of people that have chronic illness can't say that. But I am truly excited for life. And what God has to offer me, new ideas, um, new things that I can bring back to my community. I am a true advocate of the lupus community, so I'm excited about just new ideas that God's going to put in my heart and on my heart, that we can provide for the lupus community.
Amen. And how can people connect with you through Lupus Together or any other foundation that you're part of, please?
For Lupus Together New Jersey. So you can find us on our website, which is lupus LUPS together
Mm-hmm.
TOGETHERNJ .org. You can find us on social media under also Lupus Together NJ, and that could be either Facebook, TikTok, or Instagram. Um, I You can always give us a call at 609-558-6500. You can also We have support group meetings. I just wanted to mention that also for anybody that's looking for a support group. We do Zoom support group meetings every Tuesday, second and fourth Tuesday of the month from 7 until 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we also are resuming our in-person support group meeting. And you can find all this information out on our website as well, with upcoming fundraisers and different fun things that we do, and information about lupus if you like to learn.
Perfect. And Sharifa, from Ageless
Yeah.
Ambition and from me, I would like to personally just thank you for taking a moment to join us on today, for your resilience, for your faith, for standing boldly in the face of this disease process and saying that you will live your life, you will have a future. Thank you for your vision and pushing through every day for Lupus Together New Jersey and being an advocate for patients and educating our community. I thank you for just being a blessing to others. And I hope that this reaches one person, but I hope that it reaches 1,000 so that they can receive more, information and become a part of your team and just understand that they're not alone. Thank you. And if
Thank
you
you
can
for
just
having me.
stay on after, I'm just gonna. So this is Ageless Ambition. My name is Jeraine Simmons. I am your podcast host, and I see you next time.